what's up, everybody? Hey, Megan.
Hey,
Thanks
yeah, we
for
finally are. Hey.
yeah, geez, with all the technical difficulties we had, we were a bit late. We sorry that normally we're at 12, but I'm going to stop my camera so that I can do this without the internet bombing out, Megan.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say it's a bit dodgy again.
Jumpy. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, guys. So welcome to the Addiction Homework Planner. Today we're discussing occupational problems, barriers, and solutions. So we did a broadcast on this last week, but it didn't go very well. We're retrying it again. So I just want to quickly let everybody know that we are broadcasting on all of the public channels as usual. The public channels are, as the name implies, open to the public. So those channels are the MyRehab Helper Facebook page, the ARC or the MyRehab Facebook page, the MyRehab Helper Facebook profile, and the Duly Diagnosed YouTube channel. If you guys want to post a comment, you're welcome to. I haven't posted the links. Let me see if I can do that while I'm talking. So no, I don't know if I can do two things at once, Megan. So okay. I'm gonna post it on the MyRehab. Okay, there's the MyRehab helper. Okay, give me a second, guys. Bear with me. Let me just quickly post the links. If you're at Cafe group and you're watching via that, please bear with us for 10 to 20 minutes. We're going to be broadcasting on the public channels. If you want a higher degree of confidentiality, wait until the 15 to 20 minutes is up, and then you can hop on via the link and join us via either video and audio or just audio. Again, alternatively, you can just post a comment, and if you have a question, Megan and myself can make an attempt to answer the question. I've got one more place to post it. There we done, Megan. Here we go. Cool. Okay, so let's hope the signal works out. Let's see if the camera doesn't bomb. So I'm going to share the screen quickly. If you could just give me another second. Share screen. Okay. So as mentioned, guys, we're talking about occupational problems, barriers and solutions. So this worksheet, I'm going to give it a quick read through. Occupational problems take many problems with authority, conflict with co-workers, stressful work environments, effective behavior, being supported or encouraged, adjustment or retirement, layoff, unemployment or unemployment due to poor performance or attendance problems, and so on. Causes of addiction and problems at work run both ways. Addictive behavior may cause work problems, and the environment may contribute towards addiction and relapse. This exercise will help identify difficulties you've had with work and with addictive behavior and create solutions. So the first question asks to list the last 4 jobs that you've held and the problems you've had in each job. So Megan, as discussed before we went live with you, I found this interesting comment on Facebook. It was a post that somebody made, and I thought it would be a good talking point. So I'm just going to give it a quick read. So this lady posted, I used to work at a company where the CEO kept reacting negatively in just about anything that I did. The company used WhatsApp for communication. I belonged to numerous WhatsApp groups. I was on call and tied to my work phone, even if I was off duty. Would be regularly blasted from a dizzy height on these groups about my stupidity, not thinking, overlooking important stuff. Also did 2 people's jobs from January. 4 days off. I got
we're losing you.
Where did you lose me?
I was for my stupidity was the last thing I heard on my side.
Okay, I was regularly being blasted from a dizzy height on the groups about my stupidity, not thinking, overlooking important stuff, etc. Yet I worked 12-hour shifts and some days more than 12 hours. I also did two people's jobs from Jan to May, only 4 days off a month. I got so exhausted working just about every single day, not seeing my family. I used to stay in the town where I worked because of the increase in petrol prices and the cost involved with driving there and back. There were no washing machines where I stayed, so 98% of the time I had to do the washing by hand every night as well as ironing every night. One day, while I was stressed out of my mind, losing control over myself, I resigned without having another job. I went to work with utmost fear of what I would be doing wrong and scared that I would be berated in front of anyone else. Now I'm facing dire financial problems and I feel guilty for not trying to keep on working. So she finishes that off with now I'm between a bottom and a hard place, no finances and no jobs, although I'm searching daily. Did I do wrong by resigning? What are your thoughts on that, Megan?
Sure. I think that it's quite a it's a question that one can't really answer with a yes or a no. But I also think that it's a place that a lot of people can sort of relate to. So the person who wrote this, she mentioned they losing her mind, and I think that that's a feeling that a lot of people can relate to when they are feeling so overwhelmed and so stressed out, and they've just got so much going on. And that's why I think it is always so important to, when you are feeling that way and when you are feeling like you're struggling, to to seek assistance during that process, coaching, counseling, whatever it is, so that you can go on a journey of just um, building on your skill set, so to speak, and your tools, building on your distress tolerance, all of that, so that it can possibly help you throughout the process. Even if during that process you're in a situation in your own workplace and you feel like you want to look for another job, then at least while you're still at the job that you're struggling with, you can be walking a journey of assistance with somebody. But also, on the other hand, Ryan, like I say, it's a question where I can't, just say, yes, the right thing was done, or no, the wrong thing was done. Because, it's complex what is all involved here and how a person is feeling. And, when we are in our emotional minds, we tend to act on that. And so,
So,
you
I mean,
know,
we can safely say that it was an impulsive thing to have done, right?
I think in this person's situation, it was a case of, in that moment she just didn't see another way, and in that moment emotions were so high, and she just didn't see another way. And again, like I say, a feeling that a lot of people can relate to, on a day-to-day basis, especially in the workplace. And that's why it's also so good to know, just from I mean, you can speak from an employer point of view, Ryan, and I think from an employee point of view, it's also good, to know your company policies and procedures. And when it comes to, I mean, just pertaining to this specific example, was like some bullying, or whatever the case is. So I think it's also good to empower yourself as with your company policies and procedures. But again, you can speak from an employer's point of view on the subject.
Well, I mean, I, so okay, so with the kind of effort that she was putting into her job, by the sounds of it, it sounds like she made herself invaluable to the company. Um, she was taking on. I mean, she was working really long hours, extended hours. She was taking on other people's workload. Um, and it sounded like they were in sort of like, I don't maybe it could be the case that managers and employers can just be grumpy bastards and berate people for no reason. But it sounds like it was a bit of a high pressure kind of scenario going on. So I think it maybe looked like a bit of a, from a mental health perspective, like kind of just an unhealthy sort of scenario going on in general. But I mean, like you say, it's difficult because how do you avoid, how do you I mean, when you're busy with a project and you're in the dead middle of it, and people are expecting certain outcomes, um you know finances are on the line, so on and so forth. It's difficult um for emotions not to sort of get out of control. But I think there's a couple of other things here. So I responded to her comments, and I said, I said all of that. I said, look, it sounds like you made yourself invaluable to the company. Um, if you're working such long hours and taking on other people's work, I would motivate her to contact her ex employer and sort of ask for a face to face meeting. Um, and all of the external home pressures, um, and take the opportunity to explain the difficult time that she's had being called out publicly on the WhatsApp channels. Because I know that's another thing, is I've found as an employer, and just for myself personally, when somebody sort of like takes me on about something, and there's an audience, is my audio okay, Megan?
Yeah, yeah.
So when there's an audience and you're kind of being berated or challenged or whatever in front of other people, in front of an audience, things can escalate very quickly. Your pride gets involved, and how dare you speak to me like that, so on and so forth. So a private sort of conversation in an office, one-on-one, is usually a good idea. So I motivated her to maybe try that, contact your employer, explain all of that, and be honest about the extreme hours and the lack of time that she has to do the washing and ironing after work. I mean, that's like something that a lot of people just really take for granted. I mean, people, a lot of people can afford to have a domestic cleaner, and so on, to just handle all of those issues seamlessly. But a lot of people don't have that. They don't have the money for that. They don't have the time for that. And it's difficult. So having to go home after a 12-hour shift and wash and, hand wash your clothes and then iron them, it's like, that's rough. It's like not much free time. And can be like almost like a depressing state of affairs, right? And millions and millions of people live like that. So, I think explaining that to somebody who might not understand because they maybe have a different sort of scenario, say like, that I think that would inspire a bit of compassion in anybody, no matter how disagreeable they might be. And then I said she's been clearly dedicated to her job, and I also said, look, I'm speculating, but it sounds like she might find it difficult to be assertive and to negotiate on her own behalf. So I again motivated her to take some time to write out exactly what it would be that she would need in terms of her own well-being. And let me just see what I wrote. Take some time to write out exactly what you would need in terms of your own well-being and how you could politely assert that in a meeting with your ex-employer. You could also take the opportunity to ask for a small increase in salary. So if she's made herself invaluable to the company and she's just sort of like impulsively resigned and left the next day, and she's now in this financial dire straits situation and she got no job, if you think about it from the employer's perspective, she or him is out of a key employee that was doing a hell of a lot. And I don't know, I've had that happen to me, where employees have sort of just resigned impulsively, and they were key employees, and I've either sort of made contact with them and said, listen, let's try and sort this out, or they made contact with me and we sat down and sort of sorted things out, because key employees are difficult to replace at short notice, right? Even with a month's notice, it's difficult to replace somebody like that, especially if they've been trained up and all the rest of it. So yeah, I've also had employees impulsively resign, and that's been very very frustrating for me. And then, as an employer, there's this part of me as well that kind of like doesn't want to have to put my pride in my pocket and say, oh, cool, I needed this person. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there've been times where I've just been like belligerent about it and like, no, I'm not interested. But it is not easy to find dedicated employees. And I'm certain, I said that I was certain that at the very least, the employer would probably possibly reconsider. I don't know. If you're between a rock and a hard place, you don't have an income. That means you can't put food on the table. You can't pay your rent. Okay. Um. So yeah, your problem yesterday was that you had to come home and hand wash your clothes, but your problem today is that now you can't afford washing powder. And to pay your rent and to have somewhere to wash your clothes. Do you know what I mean? So it just sounds to me like this lady as well also is a very agreeable person. So she sounds very agreeable and very high in conscientiousness, right? So she's a hard worker. And because she's agreeable, she's not going to complain about it. And the thing with agreeable people is when they don't complain about things, what happens? Like you build up this reservoir of like stuff that you wanna say, but you can't because you want to avoid conflict as far as possible. And then what happens? It all comes out, it all comes gushing out and explodes. Do you know what I mean? And results in either like an impulsive resignation or a screaming match or something worse. So definitely sounds like somebody that's agreeable, hard worker, very high in conscientiousness, but just and that's a bit of a recipe for resentment. To be honest.
Ryan, I think that there's a lot of contributing factors to what causes an individual's, let's call it a fight or flight response. And even in this case, there's a lot of things mentioned. And I think for me, what's important during that process is, again, number one, when you feel like you are not managing on your own, is to enter into some kind of counseling or employee assistance, or coaching or whatever, so that like I say, you can kind of get some help along that journey. And like I say, number two is to familiarize yourself with your companies. We always talk about educating yourself in your situation so that you can empower yourself in that situation with information and stuff like that. And I think that also while you're working on a journey with somebody, again, as I mentioned earlier, you're working on your distress tolerance skills and your perhaps deficits that you need to look at within yourself to handle your situation in the workplace better, or control your responses better if you cannot control the environment. And I think that just through that process, number one, if you're working with somebody, do it, you don't feel like you're so alone. And again, you're empowering yourself in that circumstance. So there's places, there's organizations that offer workplace counseling. Some companies have internal counselors available. And so my advice is, before it gets to a stage where you just kind of make a decision, it's to reach out to the resources that are available to help you through the process. I've worked with clients that have reached burnout in the workplace, and we work on that, and we work through that, and we try and empower that person on their journey. And so I find that is helpful. Just like with anything else, is to, before we get to a point that we don't want to be at, to reach out to resources available to help us on that journey. Are you there? Ryan, can you hear me? We have lost you, Ryan.
No,
No, it sounds like like that.
But we were discussing the. I see there's Megan. Megan, switch your camera off.
I can't hear anything you're saying, Ryan.
Okay, your camera's off, right?
There. I can hear you now. I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, keep your camera off because I think that's
Okay.
internet connection struggles with video. Okay,
Yeah.
so you mentioned policy and procedure. Look at the company's policy and procedure and all of that thing.
Yeah, and the resources available to you as an employee.
Okay, and you said that include like things like employee assistance and things like that, right?
Yeah, so if there's nothing available internally, then check externally the resources that are available. Counselors, coaches, employee assistance programs, etc. That are there to help employees through these challenges or barriers.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
employee assistance counseling.
mm,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of small businesses might not have that as an option, but like you say, you can try what's that counseling? You can contact them. They've got free counselors that are available via their telephone. They've got like a toll-free thing. You can call them. There's also a Lifeline. You can give them a call and speak to some of them, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think again, I think with this particular lady, and I get again, I'm just going to say it. I get a very strong sense that high in agreeableness, which is a characteristic or it makes that if a person has that, if they're high in agreeableness, it makes it difficult for them to say no to taking on tasks, which is clearly the case with this lady. It's also something that sort of makes it difficult for one to negotiate on their own behalf. So we can go into a lot more detail about that, but before we do, Megan, I want to just end the broadcast on the public channels.
Okay.
We're going to go strictly over to the MyRehab Cafe. I see there's a couple of people with some comments and things. So
Okay, perfect.
if you want to know more about joining the MyRehab Cafe, guys, please go to www.myrehab.com, myrehabcafe.com, or myrehabcafe.co.za. And if you were a patient at MyRehab, access to MyRehab Cafe is free. There's no charge for it. So you just need to follow the instructions, send me a WhatsApp message, and I'll connect you to it. And with that, I'm gonna put up the overlay and just end things on the public channels. Thanks for everyone that watched on the public channels. Cheers, guys.